Taylor Swift is not just successful, she is predictably successful, and when success becomes predictable, it stops being coincidence. Taylor Swift is not just a pop star, she is a global media phenomenon, a cultural force, an economic catalyst, and maybe something more. She doesn't just sell music, she sells an entire world. And inside that world, more and more people are starting to ask an uncomfortable question. Is this all just brilliant marketing, or is it emotional manipulation at the highest possible level? The so-called Taylor Swift manipulation theory isn't a conspiracy theory in the classic sense. It doesn't claim she's fake, manufactured, or controlled by shady organizations. In fact, it's far more subtle than that, and exactly for that reason, more unsettling. The idea is simple. Nothing in Taylor Swift's public life is left to chance. Every statement, every relationship, every color choice, every aesthetic shift, every pose, every emoji, every hashtag follows a larger, carefully constructed narrative. That narrative is deliberate, and it doesn't just sell albums, it shapes emotions, influences economies, and increasingly even political conversations. What makes this theory so compelling isn't how extreme it sounds, but how plausible it feels once you start looking for patterns. From the very beginning of her career, Taylor Swift has reinvented herself with machine-like precision, almost like a software update. A country girl becomes a pop icon. A romantic victim becomes a self-aware strategist. Innocence gives way to controlled power. Each era arrives with its own color palette, visual language, symbols, and storyline. Different aesthetics, identical structure. And at some point, it stops feeling like spontaneous artistic evolution and starts looking like strategic narrative design. Because Taylor Swift isn't just an artist anymore, she's an ecosystem. Her fans don't simply consume content, they participate in it. Through hidden clues in lyrics, cryptic social media posts, Easter eggs in music videos, and carefully timed announcements, she has built an interactive network that functions almost like an alternate reality game. This ecosystem is even formally organized through something called Taylor Nation, which is not a fan-chosen nickname like Swifties, but an official, management-run community channel operated by her team to activate, coordinate, and mobilize her fan base. And that distinction matters, because this means participation isn't just organic enthusiasm, it's structurally guided engagement. Fans analyze outfits, decode timestamps, dissect background details, and interpret single words for deeper meaning. Nothing feels random, and that's exactly the point. So the question becomes unavoidable. Who is really in control here? Are fans shaping Taylor Swift's moves, or is the system training them to behave exactly this way? Now here's the part most people miss. Fans don't experience this as manipulation. They experience it as reward. Participation creates belonging, identity, status inside the community, and the emotional payoff of being in on it. There is no coercion, no force, no pressure, just a perfectly designed invitation to engage. And when engagement becomes part of someone's identity, they defend it instinctively. That's why criticism often sounds like hate to them, even when it's aimed at the system, not the person. The system doesn't need to control people directly. It only needs to make participation feel meaningful enough that people choose it and then protect it. Then come the coincidences. The announcement of her latest album on the exact same day as her engagement to a famous NFL player. The color orange was featured across her promo campaign and then showed up on Apple's latest iPhone. Massive synchronized Spotify campaigns with embedded codes. Google confetti appears when you search her name. Brands suddenly release products in Swift-coded color schemes. At some point, this does not feel like pop culture anymore. It feels like orchestrated global messaging. Her impact goes far beyond music. Analysts talk about the Swift effect. Cities where she performs see measurable economic booms. Flights, hotels, local sales, they all spike. Companies she casually references or that match her aesthetic see social media waves. Politicians hope for her endorsement. Her political statements influence voter behavior. Her presence shifts conversations. When one individual has this kind of systemic effect, we have to ask a difficult question. Is she still just a musician, or a figure more powerful than most institutions? This influence works in one very specific way, through emotion. Taylor Swift isn't just selling songs. She's selling the feeling of being understood. Her lyrics work like diary entries, universal enough for you to see yourself in them, and specific enough to feel personal. Whether it's heartbreak, revenge, or empowerment, there's a Swift album for every emotional state. Her music isn't just a product, it is emotional storytelling perfected. Of course, pop music has always thrived on emotion, but what Swift has mastered is turning those emotions into a marketing framework. Each album has its own color code. Each release comes with a curated emoji strategy. Every outfit, stage design, and camera angle fits into a larger narrative. And that narrative is launched like a product with countdowns, teaser visuals, and recurring symbols. You are already emotionally invested before you have heard a single note. She has turned her private life into an extension of her creative output. Relationships are not just relationships, they are campaigns. Engagements, breakups, and political opinions are not just personal events, they are assets. All of it flows seamlessly into her content pipeline. And it works because it feels authentic, not strategic. But that is exactly the danger. When strategy is packaged so emotionally that we do not see it as strategy anymore. And here is another reason this model feels so powerful. A system like this could not exist the same way 20 years ago. It depends on always-on platforms, real-time feedback, and algorithms that reward engagement above everything else. Earlier pop stars had fandoms, but they did not have constant behavioral data flowing back to them at scale. Today, every click, comment, search, and share becomes signal, and signals shape what gets amplified next. The narrative does not just unfold, it adapts. And once a narrative can adapt in real time, it stops being just storytelling and starts behaving like a machine. Now, is Taylor Swift planning all this by herself? Probably not. More likely, there is a team of experts behind her, masters of branding, psychology, and cultural trend analysis. But the important part is that the system works. It scales, and others are already copying it, from influencers to corporations to political campaigns. In many ways, Taylor Swift is not the problem. She is the prototype. She represents the ideal individual in an attention economy with total control over narrative, relentless self-marketing, authenticity as a curated image, and closeness as an illusion. She is not the root cause, she is the mirror. And maybe the real heart of this theory isn't even about Taylor Swift. Maybe it's about us, about what we project onto her: empowerment, romance, rebellion, comfort. And she delivers exactly that in perfectly timed doses, wrapped in music, posts, and symbolism. At what point does authenticity disappear completely and become performance? Even if the theory is exaggerated, it forces us to confront the world we live in. It shows us how deeply emotion is commercialized, how connection is gamified, and how storytelling is monetized. And it raises a fundamental question: at what point does art become control? What remains is a strange mix of awe and unease. Awe at the sheer perfection of this pop empire, and unease about how much we've willingly become part of it. Because this system only works if we keep it going, if we click, share, react, decode, if we allow ourselves to feel emotionally connected to someone we've never met and who may be showing us only what we're supposed to see. Taylor Swift may just be one person. But the system she embodies is bigger than her. It's a model, it's a feedback loop, and it's incredibly effective. In the end, the Taylor Swift manipulation theory might not be about conspiracy at all. It might be about how the lines between performance, branding, and identity have blurred beyond recognition. And when we look in the mirror she holds up to us, maybe we're not seeing Taylor anymore. Maybe we're just seeing ourselves. If you found this theory interesting, subscribe for more deep dives into power, culture, and the system shaping modern fame. Thanks for watching.